Hi, my name is Justine from Sociology 108. Today I will be talking about Proposition 47, the pros and cons of this prop, and why it's a big social issue in today's society. For Proposition 47, the bill was passed in California on November 4, 2014. Prop 47 is an initiative to reduce the classification of most non-serious and non-violent property and drug crimes from a felony to a misdemeanor unless defendant has prior convictions for murder, rape, certain sex offenses, or certain gun crimes. It is resentencing for those currently serving a prison sentence of any of the offenses that the initiative reduces to misdemeanors. Under the Prop 10,000 inmates were eligible for resentencing. The prop was also created a Safe Neighborhoods and Schools Fund. The fund was set to receive based on the savings accrued by the state. In the state of California, voters voted yes at 59.61% and no at 40.39%. The pros for this prop is that it reduced the nonviolent crimes and property crimes from 21% to 13%. When the prop passed, it allowed felonies to go down to a misdemeanor and allowed people to find and secure themselves jobs without disclosing their previous criminal records. People are not able to get housing without needing to disclose any previous felonies. Another pro to the prop is that it would release inmates with nonviolent crimes and reducing the cost that is going into jailing systems. $1.25 billion is said to have savings over 5 years. They say it will bring funds into crime prevention, education, and treatment. They contend it will increase public safety by freeing up police to focus on dangerous criminals. The reform will improve public safety, reduce prison spending, and invest hundreds of millions in K-12 schools, victim services, and mental health drug treatment. For the cons, Proposition 47 is allowing criminals to do more crimes without any major consequences. These include shoplifting, grand theft, receiving stolen property, forgery, fraud, and writing bad checks, as long as the total value of the stolen property is under $950. A thief may now steal something under the limit on a daily basis, and it will never rise to felony status. In a news article by the Los Angeles Times, they did an article on a 30-year-old man in which it talks about the prop allowing the man to continue to keep stealing under the value of $950 without getting any serious consequences. He skipped out on drug treatments and allowed him to continue his drug lifestyle of being a meth head. In the same article, it also states that law enforcement pass up on narcotics arrests and all because it takes way too long for all the paperwork when the offender will be out by the next couple hours. Drug addicts are able to stay on the streets and continue to do their drugs wherever they please. In the article, it also states that crime has risen, with property crime at 8% and auto thefts of 20% to keep up with their addictions. Drug addicts are encouraged to go to drug treatment, but when the prop was passed, they only encouraged to go in. Many offenders pass up the treatment, leaving them in jail for a shorter period of time than to spend more time in a treatment program. Not to mention that counties are not required to pull their cost savings into programs. Another con to the prop is that since crimes under a value of $950, law enforcement are less likely to respond to a person in need of some help. Recently, callers are being blindsided to the no-show or slow response to a scene. Another con to the prop that states are stating that the stats crimes are down by so many percentages, but in reality, less stops by law enforcement means that not all crimes are being reported. And with the picture on the screen, violent crimes in LA, you can see has risen up to 40%. And the reason for Prop 47 and why I think it's a big social issue is that in most recent times I took a trip to San Francisco to see the beautiful city. Before my trip even began, family was telling me to be careful out in the city as there are so many homeless people and drug addicts on the streets. My action was, yeah, sure, whatever. Well, it was very exciting to fly from LAX to San Francisco airport. Getting on the streets immediately saw endless tents. One night we decided to go to downtown and we saw one gentleman talking to a light post, having a serious conversation with it, about to punch the pole. Seeing that was just a reality and it was time to end the night. The next day was St. Patrick's Day. San Francisco is big on this day with a huge parade. We went back to downtown right by City Hall. As we were walking to the event, there were cars on the streets with signs that said, "No value inside, don't break window." During the parade, there were people sleeping on sidewalks, and in the middle, where the main event was held, there was people sleeping there too. To back up my presentation, I decided to interview a police officer from LAPD who was able to answer some of my questions regarding the Proposition 47. What are the cons of Prop 47 being just con right now?
The negative.
Negative of Prop 47 being a LAPD officer.
The negatives of Prop 47 are more crime, less officers doing proactive work, and just victimization of the citizens of Los Angeles. Prop 47 should never pass. It decriminalizes crime. It brings many crimes from felonies to misdemeanors, which just means that there's no jail time. Any misdemeanors are not. There's no jail time to misdemeanors. There's no jail time anymore for drug offenses. They're all misdemeanors now. Heroin, cocaine. Unless you're selling it, then you'll be charged with a felony, but the courts will never allow it, and you'll be out of there with a misdemeanor again. So everything is, we've decriminalized crime to make the state of California look better and to have a prison system that's less populated. That was the bottom line, and it's not working.
How morals now that 47 passed?
How's morale? Morale in the department is the all-time low. I've been there 23 years, and officers are doing absolutely nothing. We're just following the radio. What that means is anytime a call comes in, you take your time buying the call, you take your time getting there, and you just do your 12 hours and you go home. The officers are just not going after like we used to. We used to be good officers used to be called hard chargers. Hard chargers don't exist anymore. Because now, if you're a hard charger, the chances of you ending up on YouTube doing something really good for the citizens of LA are going to come back and bite you in behind. So with that being said, so we leave with handcuffs on. The minute you get into the car, we have handcuffs on. So department doesn't like hard charges anymore because it brings trouble because of all the recordings and YouTubes and everybody's cell phone. So now we just go out there, do our 12 hours, and pretty much not much gets done.
Do you see any changes in crime?
Yes, crime is spiking. Every 6 months we get an update on crime. In the city of LA, crime has gone up 45% at least. And it will continue rising because criminals now are aware that they're not going to get any long-term jail sentences from the liberal courts in California. They know the system. They know that it's if you are charged with a misdemeanor, you're not going to do any time at all. And it's a revolving door. They come in, they go out, they come back in, they come back out. And also, if it's not a violent felony, let's say you steal more than $950 without a gun, and it's not violent, you can just steal or pickpocket or steal a car that's worth 10 grand. It's still a misdemeanor. It's dropped down to a misdemeanor. Right now, if you steal a Ferrari that's worth $300,000 and you crash that Ferrari, and it's your first offense, it's 3 at most. 3 months. So, is it worth it? If I'm a criminal and I got got nothing else to do, I'm fine with it. I would just keep doing it. Now, you go anywhere else, you go to Nevada, you go to Arizona, you try pulling that stunt, and it's a different story. There, you carry more than an ounce of marijuana in your pocket, it's a felony. You're looking at a year or more in prison. You carry heroin in your pocket, it's a felony. You're going to do some time in prison. That's called a law-abiding society. California has gone to the point where the law doesn't matter anymore. It's just a free spirit. A lot of unicorns, this crazy utopia. It's never going to happen. So what they do, they just decriminalize crime to make it look like everything's great.
In conclusion, with Prop 47, it has many pros and cons, the cons weighing out the pros. In our society, we have to answer this one question: what can we do?